You don't need it. We are live, Curt.
Louder?
You're good.
Are we in good company today?
Yeah!
Borrow from the bard, I could not wish to be in better company. Woo! Brothers, friends, countrymen, Christendom, let me on here! Truth is enough. And truth before face, regardless of the cost, was enough to build our civilization. And truth again is enough to save it. So it's time for men of ability to demand and speak the truth, regardless of cost. Why are we here?
Reciprocity.
We thank you. This is 5,000 years old. It's the record of our birth. It's the natural law. The natural law of sovereign men. It's our law. It's the law of the European peoples. It's the traditional law of commons by which we constrain our actions and resolve our disputes. It's not the work of man. It's the work of nature and nature's God. It's written in the hand of nature and nature's God throughout the fabric of this universe. Europeans only discovered this law by by nature and nature's universe. The failure to discover this law and adapt to it and apply to it, like the physical laws and the evolutionary laws we've discovered, is the reason why all other civilizations that even started far before ours stagnated, declined, or failed. Here on the court steps for a reason. This is not arbitrary. This is the law of this universe. The universe is God and our people who discovered it. And this law is why, even though we were not firstest, we always became the fastest. And that is the secret to our competitive advantage. It's why we live better lives. This law that they seek to take from us. This law isn't a plea. It's not a request. And we're not making a request. We're making a demand. The same demand our forefathers made. The same demand we've kept for 5,000 years! And let's make it clear that for men of ability and strength who have spent centuries transforming themselves, their people, and their civilization to mirror the laws of nature and nature's God, that the only reason for us to refrain from killing, conquering, pillaging, looting, enslaving, and serfing, tax farming, credit farming, and domestication of others for profit is if we cooperate by sovereignty and reciprocity. The only reason not to kill is non-aggression. Are we being aggressed against? Are we still constrained from not reciprocity.
Yes!
This is a harsh law. Like most laws of nature and nature's God that we have discovered, this law is not made for the comfort of man, but for the evolution of man. This law forces man to do the work of nature and nature's God on their behalf. It is not kindly to man. This law is a man's tragedy. It caused us to birth, our ancestors to birth, that thing we call tragedy and heroism. Because we do it anyway! That's great. And just as we struggled as heroically despite this tragedy, as others shrunk in horror from it, they shrunk into harmony, escape, denial, and the false promises. Those promises we most recently encountered in the reaction to the Industrial Revolution that we call the left. The program to reverse and deny those laws of nature and nature's God with which we drag mankind, kicking and screaming against us out of ignorance and poverty, starvation and disease. Our American Constitution, like Mother England's before us, creates a government of rule of law. By that natural law that constrains our actions, constructs our commons, and from which we adjudicate our differences. No other people on this earth live under this law. Even Mother England lives under the sovereignty of Parliament, not the sovereignty of law. The sovereignty of law we seek to preserve and continue to use to drag ourselves and mankind for the next 5,000 years into the peerage with the gods! Now we succeeded, but all other peoples failed. They failed to remain sovereign. They failed to retain rule of law. Because they failed to retain the arms, the will to use them, that's necessary for the preservation of that law against the endless river of usurpers whose arrogance and hubris deny the laws of nature and nature's God. So all other people are ruled by men. All but us. We Americans. We few, we happy few.
Band brothers!
But we were weak! Or naive, or too patient, or too full of tolerance, or too proud, or too confident. The enemy achieved with our destruction by depopulation, propaganda, taxation, credit, replacement immigration, what they could not achieve with ideas and equal or better achievements. Achieved by destruction what they could not themselves make. And in this age, as in the ancient world, they destroy what themselves cannot make, cannot do, cannot equal. They destroy what they fail to understand. They destroy what they fear to face. We're the only people unafraid to face the truth of nature and God, nature's laws and God's laws.
That's right!
We're the only people that speak truth before face, regardless of cost, and bear the burden of reciprocity in our law, regardless of cost. And we defend that law, regardless of cost. law no longer exists. It's about us. If this government refuses to rule, to govern, to protect life and property, commons, if this government has abandoned us, our laws, God's law, then we have no choice but to declare this government incompetent, dissolve, and set about restoring our rule of law, and set about restoring our rule of law, our Constitution, our rights, and those institutions to defend our life, property, and commons, and to restore rule of law by the people, for the people, as our Declaration, Constitution, ancestors, nature, and nature's God demand! Russia fell by the same technique they used against us.
Push the communist mouth! Parasite!
China fell, and tens of millions died. Rome fell by the same technique, at the same rate, for the same reasons, and a dark age of 1,000 years where they reversed and ignored the natures and God's law. Why? Because unlike us, men of conscience would not do what they must, regardless of the cost! Monuments. Monuments say, I own this land. Castles, carts, and parliaments say, I rule this land. Temples and churches say, I rule these people. Removing monuments say, I conquer this land. Occupying castles, parliaments, or courts say, I conquered this government. Building temples or destroying churches say, I conquered these people. If one comes upon a territory or its institutions or its people with conquest rather than integration and accommodation, then one comes by way of war. Reciprocity is enough! All mankind can live together in peace and harmony and prosperity if we follow nature's and God's law. Reciprocity in all things, truth before face, and intolerance of any deprivation of them. Destroy our civilization once from within. Destroy our temples, our statues, our arts. Burn our letters, kill our philosophers, close our academies, and burn our books of science and technology, and bring about a dark age of 1,000 years that took us for all suffering to recover from, and shame on you for it. But destroy our civilization once again, as the left has done, from within by the same means a second time, well, shame on us, and we will not be shamed! Regardless of cost! Regardless! It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time for all good men, and good men alone, to come to the aid of their country, of their people, of their civilization, and by proxy, mankind. Save us from this false religion of lies, false promises, false possibilities, the hatred of our people, our civilization, the laws of nature and nature's God by which we live, a religion of lies, false promises, and false possibilities by which our enemies are inspired to destroy the treasury of our inheritance and the gift of our civilizations and inheritance. Right. outside the law. So do we have moral right by nature and man's law to restore our property? Of course we do. And all they do is destroy.
Who's the white supremacist? Let's fucking say so! Say so! I know white supremacists! Live somewhere else! Go away!
Always want a good thing.
We're being aggressed against this. Hey, ignore them. Let's
Ignore this!
So we must pay the price for those before us, those not with us, by demanding correction. Correction by compromise, correction by exchange, or correction by defeat. And with that correction, fortune willing, by bloody civil war, if fortune is not, we must restore rule of law by natural law and the sovereignty and reciprocity, restore self-determination of our people, so that we may continue our discovery of adaptation to application of the laws of nature and nature's God. Not only for us, and ours, but for all people, all nations, all civilizations, and by proxy mankind. Following the tradition of our founders, we have put before you a solution, an introduction that will explain the majority of one has only the rights you have in exchange.
Keep talking! Look, go over that kind of
Preach!
So I have brought before you today a solution to the problem of the age. Following the tradition of our founders, we have put before you an introduction that alone explains the majority of the reforms. I'm sorry I write wordy things. And I use polysyllables. And a declaration of Reformation like the Declaration of Independence before us. A preamble to the Reformed Constitution like the preamble before it. A set of articles and amendments to our Constitution, although admittedly unfinished. A charter to bring our people to bring it about by peaceful settlement or not. It includes repairing the 6 errors of the original Constitution, 2 subsequent errors, the restoration of natural law, the addition of strict construction of natural law, so that our laws are no longer open to undermining through ancient techniques of sophistry and interpretation. We will have our law once again, so this part, before which I stand, has meaning other than violence. A solution to the problem of our differing demands, so that the egalitarians who have their local custom, and those hierarchicals like me are their local custom, but the government does not intercede. The end of the pervasive half-truth, disinformation, dishonesty, deceit, fraud, propaganda in public speech in matters of public to the public. And the restoration of the requirements, our ancient requirement, that all speech in public is testimonial speech.
No more lies!
No more lies!
No more lies! No more lies! No more lies! No more lies! No more lies! No more lies! No more lies! No more lies! No more lies! No more lies!
Tell your president to stop lying!
Yeah, we
we end the predation upon our people. And we introduced the greatest educational reform since the introduction of universal education.
Yes.
In addition, there's a 1,000-page tome none of you will read that goes into detail about why all this is scientific and formally logical under the law.
We love you, Curt.
As such, we may have such that we may have this debate. That's the whole point. With this indoctrination and lies, and without a possible solution that provides a resolution of our differences and preferences, differences that are not illegitimate. They are not illegitimate differences. They are differences in want and need. So we got to have our debate, and as such, all political speech, all political affiliation is protected speech from this day forward. All political affiliation is a protected class from this day forward. All suppression of testimonial, meaningful, truthful, reciprocal, empirical speech is hereby criminalized from this day forward. Because without those things, we cannot come to a peaceful resolution of our differences between people who have legitimate differences without the bloodiest civil war in human history.
No more brother wars.
No more.
So no more lies.
No more lies. No more lies! 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 No more lies!
And by this truth, and this ability to speak, we will choose our destiny by honest discourse, and honest discourse alone, or we will resolve it by honest violence. One and all, present and privileged, all those rest in this country, in this state, in this country, in our civilization. We invite you to read, understand, and sign the Declaration today and online digitally after. Because under no conditions will we let the left destroy this country, as they have Russia, China, South America, and they did the great civilizations lost to us from the ancient world. And we are dead! We are men of the West! We shall not repeat the mistakes of the Romans! It's time we shall do our duty, regardless of the cost. Thank you, brother. We start today.
He apologized. I should.
That's good. So the little scuffle over there for the audience. There was an apology. There was a shaking of hands. I'm not sure what's going on in front of us here.
All right, well, I got my sign-in hand out. Ready to sign that thing?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
It's
I know Curt. You want to write truth? I don't know what the fuck just happened. I don't know. Same guy telling communists that
Stop your fucking lying. Just say these people need this shit, these people need this shit, these people need this shit. Instead of trying to make people you know what? That's it. We don't feel the same, we don't feel the same. But that's all. And it's mostly, I mean, if you look at the biology of it, it's mostly, honestly, you guys are bigger dicks and stronger evolution. All right, and you're also more social. You're also more sociable. So you're less prone on mental illness. So these are all things we know. Right? We have the same thing. The difference is we took to get to where we are, we're all middle class, it took losing our gas and losing our muscles. Right? So the problem is, how do you get a bunch of guys together when they're 5 years old? Put my kids. My kids are white and strong, right? Put him with a bunch of Asian kids. He looks like a fucking bully. Right? Huh? I can't hear you, brother. Do you mind if we address the crowd? Tell me whatever I want. It's not about. We gotta stop this shit race, man. It's the enemy's technique to use black people once again as the tool by which to fuck us all over.
White check! White check! What's going on, fine gentlemen and ladies and queens I see?
Listen up!
Turn it up! We can hear you? We good?
Yeah.
I'm Jafari Jones. I'm president of Black Lives Matter 757. We up here to stand in solidarity with the Second Amendment rights. We're here to put the end to the stigma that Black Lives Matter are thugs, that Black Lives Matter just come to loot and destroy communities. We came in here in solidarity with brothers in peace. Our chapter personally, we search for missing girls. We register voters. We help fellas restore their rights. We do food drives. We do toy drives. All the things in which the media will not show you. We come in peace, and we've been doing this for 4 years without a hitch. So if anybody tells you that we're about nonsense and about violence, it's bullshit. Excuse my language, but not that much. It's free speech. So we just want all y'all to know, see our faces, put it into the stigma, and say, hey, if you see somebody with a BLM shirt, don't automatically think, oh, they're a thug. Just like you wouldn't want us to think that just because you have one, have a Make America Great Again hat, it's just some type of, whatever. All this name calling between both parties, Republican and Democrats, they're trying to divide us. This is the scariest thing. Right here. We showing up where it counts at the state capitol, joined in arms, brother to brother, and tell them if they want something, they can have all they want.
All right.
Cut grass and kick ass, and we all out of grass.
All right.
So, with that being said, look, I love you. I say this to everybody. I love y'all. I don't have to personally know you, but I love you. I love your spirit. I love you for being here. I love you for standing up for what y'all do. If everybody can do me a one favor, it's a small little thing I always do. If you put one thing in the air and say, I am the change today. I am the change today. I am the change today.
One more!
And just like that, you say, one small act of kindness, one small act of equality is what's going to bring us all together as a country. This is what they don't want to see.
Reciprocity!
We need to eliminate both of the party lines. Let's just make a black line, and let's do what's right. Stop calling yourself Republicans, stop calling yourself a Democrat, and call yourself for the people. That's my piece.
Reciprocity!
Hey, Curt. Curt, are we signing this thing now or what?
We've been signing it.
Oh, they've been signing it.
You guys got to give me those signatures. You gotta understand, when you talk online, it's one thing. When you show up, it's another. When you make a speech, it's another. When you sign it, it's an act.
I signed it!
You sign that thing, that means you're in. You're in.
I signed it!
Regardless of cost.
And I signed it with
Where do we sign?
Who's got it anyway?
The tent's over there. There have been people signing this. Oh,
So here's what it looks like. Declaration.
Is the copy over there?
Yes, it is. It's on,
Okay.
Thus I saw it,
Okay.
because I signed it.
Okay. There have been people signing the declaration as we've been doing this, and we will continue to do so.
I like words.
Buddy, check.
Syllables, the more the better, and the longer the run-on sentence, the preferably better.
Thanks for
Who wrote like that? Our founders.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Thank you.
There's only one point to make. If you don't have arms, you don't have sovereignty, you can't have rule of law. The first law under rule of law is bearing arms, regardless of your goddamn race or color. I just want to say that we're going to start signing soon, it sounds like. So please get prepared to do the signing of the Declaration of Reformation. Also, I want to say thank you to the people who are host today. Everyone here, I want you to show goodwill and love towards everyone here for their willingness to let us be here. And that's a disturbance they did not expect. And no one wants that, and we want to show our goodwill and love towards people. These are people. We love them. It's our rights, and we'll protect theirs. Thank you very much. The signatures, signings at the 10. It sounds like signings at the 10.
Go on the internet, I promise my wife.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew you were John.
You heard the voice.
Appreciate what you do.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, brother. Where'd you come from?
Texas.
Texas? Wow. This is amazing, like people from everywhere. It's stunning. If there's audience still watching on the live stream, we got people from all over the country here. California and the world. It's really amazing. And I haven't signed that thing yet, so I gotta go sign it.
Yeah. We showed up in person. I think that's